There's a city on this list that's disappearing faster than the ocean is rising to meet it. Not in 50 years, not in a century. Right now, while you watch this video, it is dropping, some parts of it by nearly 3 centimeters a year. And here's the twist almost nobody talks about. The villain in this story isn't rising seas. It's what's happening underneath these cities. And in most cases, it's something we're doing to ourselves. Sea level is climbing worldwide. NASA's satellite data puts it at a little over 3 millimeters a year. That's slow. Annoying, but slow. The real emergency is subsidence, land physically sinking beneath cities, sometimes 10 times faster than the sea is rising to greet it. Picture the ground like a soaked sponge. As long as it's full of water, it holds its shape. Pump that water out from underneath, which is exactly what happens when millions of people drill wells for drinking water, and the sponge collapses. Multiply that by an entire city's foundation, and you get concrete streets cracking, seawalls failing, and buildings tilting into ground that simply isn't there anymore. A 2022 study in Nature Sustainability tracked subsidence across 48 major cities. Today, we're counting down the 5 sinking the fastest, and the reasons range from thirsty megacities to fault lines that are quietly rewriting the risk of earthquakes. Number 5. Jakarta, Indonesia. Population over 11 million. Average sink rate roughly 5 millimeters a year, but in the city's north, some neighborhoods are losing over 2 centimeters annually. The cause traces back to something as basic as a garden hose. Jakarta's piped water network never kept up with its population boom, so residents dug their own wells, by the thousands, many of them unregulated, straight into the aquifer holding the city up. Today, close to 40% of Jakarta sits below sea level, and the government has made a decision that would have sounded absurd a decade ago. They're building an entirely new capital city from scratch over 1,200 kilometers away in Borneo because saving Jakarta's ground may no longer be realistic. Number 4. Yangon, Myanmar. The citywide average is a modest 4 millimeters a year, but certain districts are sinking at over 3 centimeters, 10 times the global sea level trend. Myanmar already relocated its capital inland 2 decades ago, yet Yangon never lost its grip as the country's financial engine. Its banks, ports, and international airport are all still packed onto ground that keeps giving way beneath them. What makes Yangon uniquely dangerous is geology. The city sits near an active fault line, meaning subsidence here isn't just a slow flood risk, it's compounding the odds of a serious earthquake. Number 3. Chittagong, Bangladesh's largest port city. Average subsidence, 12 millimeters a year, quadruple Jakarta's rate, with peak zones hitting an alarming 37 millimeters. Chittagong sits at the mouth of the Bengal Delta, one of the most flood-exposed regions on Earth, and population pressure is compounding a problem nature already stacked against it. Every centimeter this city loses makes it that much more vulnerable the next time a storm surge rolls in from the Bay of Bengal. Number 2. Ho Chi Minh City, and this is where the story gets personal for millions of people because the numbers here are staggering. An average of 16 millimeters a year citywide, and in some districts, over 4 centimeters. Here's why. Ho Chi Minh City was built where several rivers converge, meaning most of it, outside the northwest, sits on naturally soft waterlogged soil. For decades, that soft ground has been pierced by groundwater wells and buried under an explosion of high-rises and traffic. Every skyscraper adds weight the soil was never meant to carry. And every wetland paved over removes a natural sponge that used to absorb the rain. Between 2014 and 2020 alone, some areas sank over 4 centimeters per year, fast enough to notice within a single decade. If current trends hold, parts of this city could slip below sea level within a few generations, even before the ocean does the rest of the work. And in first place, Tianjin, China, one of the country's largest port cities, and a warning sign that's been visible for 100 years. Sinkholes here were first documented in the 1920s. By the 1960s, some districts had dropped over a full meter into the ground. What makes Tianjin the top of this list isn't a single dramatic cause, it's decades of compounding damage. Rapid industrialization piled bridges, highways, and skyscrapers onto ground already weakened by a century of groundwater extraction. The city now sinks at an average of 6 millimeters a year, spiking past 40 millimeters in its most stressed zones. a slow-motion collapse that started before most of us were born, and never really stopped. So here's the uncomfortable pattern connecting all 5 of these cities. None of them are sinking because of nature alone. Every single one is being pulled down, at least in part, by decisions made on the surface. Wells drilled for water we didn't pipe in properly, buildings raised faster than the ground could bear them, wetlands paved over because cities needed to grow somewhere. And that's actually the hopeful part of this story. Rising seas are a global problem no single city can fix alone. But subsidence? This is local, it's measurable, and in places like Ho Chi Minh City, better water infrastructure is already starting to slow it down. The ground beneath these cities isn't destiny. It's a choice being made one well, one building, one policy at a time. So tell me, which of these 5 caught you off guard? And more importantly, is your city on a list like this one, and you just don't know it yet?